What's up, you guys, and welcome back to our channel. I want to thank you for clicking on this video and
supporting every video that we've done.
So most of you guys are here because that we were in a house fire and you're wanting to know more. So we're excited to be starting a series that we're going to basically dive deeper into the fire and just specific questions that you guys had for us. We asked you guys on Instagram what you'd like to hear the most, so today we are going to be talking about becoming parents for the first time. We're going to lay these videos out with some of the videos having part 1 and part 2, and some of the videos just being standalone videos.
We're going to try to throw as many pictures and videos of what we're talking about in there too to help.
But before we get started in the video, we want to get to know you guys better, so drop a comment down below where you're watching from. It's been really cool to see where everyone's from, and we've asked this on Instagram too. It's just exciting to kind of get to know you guys and just kind of build an audience and kind of a group of people that are all on the same page with their faith and just family life, and we're just excited to continue sharing with you guys.
It's cool to see how supportive everybody's been too. Just random people we don't know reaching out that they're praying for us or supporting us. It's just been crazy.
So before we get into the video, many of you probably know that we just moved into our new house. So in each of these videos we're going to share a little bit more about what's going on in our lives and just keep you up to date and stuff that doesn't relate to the fire. Well, I guess it does in some regards because
it's kind of what our life revolves around, but not totally.
But some exciting stuff going on. We continue to decorate our house. That's exciting in some aspects. Yeah, exciting for Rachel. Then we got some other projects going on around the house, like landscaping is starting up, and just trying to make it feel more like home around here. But like I said, comment down below where you're from.
Or what you'd like to see.
Yeah, or what you'd like to see from us going forward.
There's still so much we haven't talked about, or even diving deeper in, there's still so much we could say that we'll probably forget.
But let's get into the video, becoming parents for the first time. So we're going to start from in the hospital as early on as we can remember, just kind of what it was like being first-time parents in the hospital, and then just kind of go in order from there, just kind of building up to where we're at now. So I'll start with my side, and then Rachel will just kind of bounce back and forth, and eventually we'll get to where we're at now, and yeah, you'll kind of get a better idea of everything going on. So starting in the hospital obviously was a little bit different, becoming first-time parents for both Rachel and I.
Nothing that we expected.
It required a lot of extra hands to help feed Brindley, take care of her. Many of you probably saw in one of our previous videos, Brindley actually went home a lot sooner than we did. So we had our family taking care of her throughout the time that we were in the hospital, bringing her up, making sure that they had diapers, making sure they had formula, all the important stuff to just make sure that she was properly taken care of.
Somebody brought her there. I think my mom brought her there almost every day so we could spend as much time with her as we could, or hold her as much as we could. For a long time we both had gauze. We looked like mummies.
Yeah, which made it really hard to do the simple things like changing her or feeding her.
Or holding her.
Yeah, holding her. I know the first time that I saw her, probably a lot of you saw the video of me with my hands out, all gauzed up, face looking kind of rough. I didn't really know what to do in that situation just because, like Rachel said, we were very bandaged up. And
you want to hold her, but you can't.
Yeah, so that was kind of like our entrance into parenthood, was a lot of help from everybody really. Throughout the time in the hospital, obviously we continued to heal and get better day by day, which allowed us to do more and more. I think that one of the crazy things for me is that I don't think either of us changed. Did you change any diapers while you're in the hospital?
No.
We kind of got lucky in that regard. Thankfully, we're able to do that stuff now. We've healed to a point where we can do that stuff now. Yeah, really in the hospital, it was a weird first entrance into parenthood. Couldn't do a whole lot, you know, whether it was feeding, changing her, or even just like being with her throughout the night.
I think one of the first times I fed her was in the hospital, probably week 2 or 3 of being in there, and I needed help because this hand was so bandaged, so I could only hold her in one arm and I couldn't bend my arm, so I couldn't really feed her. Somebody just kind of placed her in me, and it was a process, but just to be able to feed her and be close to her was definitely a blessing in the moment.
That was the other crazy thing about becoming parents for the first time in the hospital while we were dealing with all of our stuff, is that because Rachel and I weren't in the same room, we had to split time with her. So Brinley had her share of bouncing back and forth between rooms, bouncing back and forth between the hospital and where she stayed at nighttime. So when Rachel finally did get the opportunity to meet Brinley and actually understand what was going on, where she, first remembers being with it, I guess, that's when she really started to be able to do stuff, or when, it was finally at that point where, yeah, she could feed her.
Yeah, and then neither of us could burp her because all of my burns were on my stomach, so I couldn't put her over my shoulder and I couldn't bend my arm to burp her. So I didn't do that for a long time after being home, just because my stomach was so tender.
Like Rachel said, it took multiple people to even feed her, to get her position right in my arms, to get me the bottle. There was many times where both of us were on bed rest, so it's like we couldn't even get up and make a bottle. Obviously, Rachel wasn't breastfeeding just because of all the trauma that went through her body.
Drugs.
Yeah, and all the drugs.
And I think one of the first times I fed her being home, I didn't even know how to make a bottle. And there's so many parts to these bottles, I didn't know what went where. It was just crazy. It was very humbling.
When we got this fancy baby Keurig as well, which is like, it's great, but it also sucks because you gotta clean it, and it always seems to have some issue with it. But
it's fancy.
Yeah, to say the least, we missed out on a whole bunch of stuff, and then once we did get out of the hospital, it was a huge learning curve for us because, nothing of this process was planned, or, none of it was anything we anticipated. So when we finally got out of the hospital, that's when stuff really started to change for us. When, becoming a first-time parent was, I guess,
Real?
Yeah, it started to become real because we started staying with Brinley. We started seeing her together full time. Yeah, when we wanted to. Didn't have scheduled visits. So we didn't move into our house right away when we got out of the hospital. It took probably about 2 weeks after we got out, which is perfectly fine. Both of us were in conditions that, we probably didn't need to go through all of the moving, and really we didn't have a whole lot to move anyways as far as material stuff goes.
Yeah. Talk about a blessing in disguise. We were not excited to move all of our stuff.
And neither of us are big on change, moving. It's just a lot of work. After we got out of the hospital, we started to get into these routines of trying basically to do everything we could for Brinley. We still had a lot of help. We had parents stay with us each night, and that started alternating once we got into our own house, where I would have my parents and then Rachel's parents, and then we even had Rachel's brother and our sister-in-law stay with us a few times. And
mainly just because we didn't get sleep. We would wake up itching, we would wake up uncomfortable. So we just tried to get as much sleep as we could to heal.
It was a crazy process because it's like we need sleep to heal, to mentally be sound. And we would sleep, but our nights of sleep would not be very restful, if you will. We both would wake up multiple times throughout the night, whether it was being uncomfortable, itchy, being in pain, needing to go to the bathroom.
Thankfully, no nightmares.
Yeah, didn't really have too many nightmares. We did deal with a little bit of a situation where basically when it was nighttime, that's like when we thought about the fire the most.
It was like sundowning.
Yeah, but we had this routine of having people come into our house and stay with us and help us out, which was great on one hand, but on the other,
hard when we're trying to find a new normal.
Yeah, it just we didn't get the alone time together. Because someone was always at our house, we always had to figure out who was staying at our house. That was a tricky part of the process, just figuring out how it worked out with people's work schedules or who wanted to come. And obviously, everyone wanted to come. It's just how long could they stay? How long did we want them to stay? And stuff like that. eventually, after we got into our own house, we started to do days by ourselves, which was,
easier than we thought, I think.
yeah, I think it was overall a good experience.
And it seems silly, like we were ready. We obviously wanted to be parents and we wanted a baby, but all this added trauma and everything just made it hard. It was almost like a band-aid that we couldn't rip off.
Just being comfortable in our own skin was, another hard thing. It's like,
Still is.
yeah, and not only just looking at our injuries and all the burns and stuff, but just knowing what we're capable of. It was really hard to figure out what we were capable of. Like for me, we mentioned that neither of us really burped Brinley for a while, and I was almost afraid to, just because I wasn't sure how it would feel on my hands. It was one of those things where you just had to test the waters. Changing a poopy diaper, that was a fun first one for us.
I mean, it doesn't smell. I don't know what he's worried about.
Yeah, that was one thing that I wish we figured out sooner or thought about sooner. I was changing poopy diapers just because I could, and I was like, oh cool, I can change my kid's diaper now. And after a few of them, I'm like, man, this really sucks because it smells so bad. And I've got a terrible gag reflex, so I'm sitting there trying to change a diaper and I'm just gagging. And Rachel's like, oh, well, I can't smell anything. I was like, oh.
I don't know what you're talking about. It smells fine.
Yeah,
Suck it up.
I'm like, oh, I wish we had thought about this earlier. Now she gets all the poopy diapers for the most part.
And I get all of the diapers.
Yeah. First time alone was a little bit frightening. It was actually during a church service. We stayed home. We weren't quite ready to go to church, and Rachel's parents had stayed with us that night, so we stayed home and watched the church service that they went to, and it went good. I mean, we fed Brinley, changed her, sat on the couch, and for the first time...
Felt like a family.
Yeah, felt like a family, and it was a long time coming, because it was a month in the hospital, and then a few weeks after that, it was probably about 2 months into our journey that we finally got time alone together, where we're actually alone. And like we said, it sounds kind of crazy because we planned on having a kid, but it was exciting and it was scary all at the same time. There's nothing that you can do to plan for having a kid, and then for us, when you throw all this other stuff on top of it, it's like
you really can't plan.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation.
I think one more thing too, right when we moved into our house, I had my last surgery, and I was still not super mobile, so I couldn't really walk. I didn't carry Brinley for a long time just because I wasn't stable, so I just was really nervous to carry her. But Travis would always have to do the bath because I couldn't stand. The nerves coming back, the blood tingling, I just couldn't stand for a super long time, so he took on that responsibility. We really just kind of bounced back and forth and did what the other couldn't. I would do poopy diapers and Trav would do everything else for a long time.
Yeah, and that's just kind of how it went. I mean, even with our own recoveries, Rachel mentions me doing the bath. Now in our journey, I've gotten to a point where I can't really do a bath just because my nerves are starting to come back in my hands, and my hands have been super sensitive and they get really itchy from the water. And
I nicked them once and started bleeding.
It's just one of those things where, yeah, you just lean on each other, and like Rachel said, you do what the other can't and fill in where you're needed, and just make the best of the situation.
It's serving each other in a way we never imagined.
Yeah. So shortly after we had our first day together, we actually decided to go on a little bit of a road trip. We went camping for the first time.
Camping.
Yeah, camping in a hotel. We would go visit the campground during the day where Rachel's parents were at, and then we went to the hotel at night because we weren't quite ready for bonfires, which naturally forced us into doing our first night alone with Brinley, which we were ready for, but also very nervous because it's just all new.
We knew we were going to be tired, but we're tired anyway because we just don't sleep well, but we were just prepared to be more tired.
Part of going on that camping trip was packing Brinley up for the first time and really figuring out how much it takes to not only pack for yourself for a couple days, but then to pack for a newborn.
And it was pretty much like one of us would pack all of our meds. And we'd have a backpack full of meds, and then a backpack of Brindley clothes, and then a diaper bag, and
way more diapers than we needed for 2 days, but
way more outfits.
yeah, way more outfits, but we were gonna make sure that we were prepared. And it came and went, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. We stressed and stressed about it, and like Rachel said, we packed and overpacked, and then the time came and we woke up when she woke up and fed her and changed her, put her back to bed, and yeah.
I think she went till like 6 or 7 too that night.
And that's kind of what prompted us to try a few more nights on our own, and this time it was in our own house, which I don't know why, but there was, like, at least for me, less comfort in staying in our own house because it was new to us. All the new sounds of a new house that you're not used to, like the fridge making noise at 2 a.m. or random stuff like that.
Maybe dogs barking at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we live on some acreage, but we've got these neighbor dogs that we can hear, like, they're in our backyard, and the neighbors just leave them out at night. And these things just go off like alarm clocks, just barking nonstop, which is annoying, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's annoying.
And I think, too, it was just a security blanket to have people here. It was just another set of hands, another set of ears, if anything were to happen. And I think we were both very comfortable with that and very nervous to be on our own. Yeah,
it was a hard transition. And, at first we would do like one night throughout the week, which wasn't too bad. And, now we're at the point where we are on our own.
We kind of went from 3 nights to ripping off the Band-Aid, and we're like, we can do it. We just gotta do it.
I don't know how we got so lucky with this, but it seemed like as soon as we went to doing full time with Brindley is when she decided that she wanted to start sleeping all the way through the night. So thank you, parents, for taking the tough ones, because now she's sleeping pretty good.
She just turned 4 months, so to be sleeping through the night, I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know much about baby schedules, but
she's not very good at tummy time.
She is when she wants to be. Yeah. Otherwise, she just doesn't let. She just is so stubborn. She's like her dad.
She's got a good mix of mom and dad. But that just kind of leads us to where we're at now, which is still just figuring it out. There's still stuff that we learn all the time about Brindley, the different signs that she has, what different cries mean. Like right now, if you can hear her, she's in the background.
Should I grab her?
Yeah, why don't you grab her? Hi there, little one. Alrighty, we got distracted, so gotta make sure the headband's on alright. We got distracted.
There!
You gonna smile for the camera?
Can you smile? There.
So, we're finally at a point where we're doing stuff all by ourselves, starting to get some more normal back in our life. We're still learning stuff every single day about Brindley.
We really got so lucky with her, though.
Yeah.
She really does not fuss or cry.
Except for when we're trying to film.
Yeah.
Then she decides to go off. But we're learning what makes her laugh and smile, and bedtime routines. She loves bath time.
She's starting to splash.
Yeah, starting to splash
Little
in the tub.
Wiggles.
Every time that we pour water on her body, she opens her mouth. So that's a fun one, which actually brings us back to our first night alone. Actually, So our first night alone, just to kind of backtrack here, we were giving Brindley a bath. We had started a nighttime routine kind of early on once we got into the house, just because we wanted her to sleep through the night, and the best way to do that is with a routine. And so we were
giving. This was in the hotel.
Yeah, so this was in the hotel room. We were giving her a bath, and they only had a shower there, so basically we had the sink running, and we would fill up her little the little water pitcher thing, and we would dump it over her, and she ended up swallowing some water because, like I said, she opens her mouth every single time without fail. We get done with her bath, and we're going to change her, and we had like the first panic attack that I think either of us have had as a parent. She started gasping, like she couldn't breathe, and then she choked up a little bit of water, and that was it.
Yeah, she's a stinker.
So overall, becoming first-time parents has not been anything we expected, but it has been a blessing for us. Obviously, stuff like Brinley's name was just a sign from God that, one, she was meant to be here, but so were we. We're learning day by day. It's been a struggle some days, and other days it's like, wow, how did we get so lucky? Ultimately, it just feels good to be together as a family and, start doing the normal things that you do as first-time parents and, figuring it out.
Now we're just trying to figure out what we do from here. We've gotten so used to having coffee in the morning and being with her all day. It's kind of our new normal.
Yeah, part of a new normal. And, that's why we're excited that a lot of you guys have enjoyed our story, is because it's not only fun sharing it, it's been nice to spend time together. We missed a lot of that at the beginning, so we really do appreciate you guys. We appreciate you following along, being interested in us and our story. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to continue to share,
Yeah, we're excited to see what the Lord has in store for us.
And that's been, a big thing for us, is that, God obviously was the one that provided this story. It doesn't have a whole lot to do with us other than we were involved. God really has just blessed us beyond measure, and, we're so thankful to be here and sharing our story. We're going to wrap it up here as far as becoming first-time parents. Make sure that you guys watch out for the next few videos that come out. We just want to thank you again for watching. Really, it's been a blessing that you guys have been involved in this and have shown your support in the ways that you have. This has kind of been, the first take in our series of surviving a house fire. Becoming first-time parents it's an exciting thing and a crazy thing, to begin with, and to do it going through all of this has been, pretty crazy as well.
Someone's getting hungry.
Brinley's getting a little bit hungry here, so we're going to wrap it up. But if you guys enjoyed this, or if you want to see the next videos to come, make sure you subscribe. Like we said in the beginning of the video, comment down below where you're from. We want to get to know you guys a little bit more than just this interaction.
Or if you have any other ideas or questions or anything you want to know about our story, we are excited to see where the Lord leads us. And her.
Can you say peace out, dude? Someone's a little fussy.
Say bye.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.